In this episode, I'm talking to you about pre-fatiguing those muscles.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 184 of the Daily Mother Swole. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 184. Today we're talking about pre-fatigue. As you know, I'm live on Facebook, live on Periscope, and live on YouTube. Well, not really live, but I'm on YouTube at Swolenormous. And also you can catch us as a podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes and Stitcher. So microphone in my face, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. This way you can catch me in the car. You can catch me while you're cooking dinner, mowing the lawn. I've heard all sorts of things. People listen at the gym. It's fantastic. Also, live every day at 12 noon Eastern Time on Facebook and Periscope. So that way, if you're on YouTube and you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the live broadcast, dual live broadcast, and the microphone is for the podcast. So if you have any questions, you can always contact me on Instagram, Snapchat, and find me on YouTube at Swolenormous. So if you're on Periscope, just click the link in my profile. Same username at Swolenormous. So pre-fatigue, what is pre-fatigue? Pre-fatigue is essentially digging deeper into the muscle fibers, getting the muscles tired before heavier compound movements. If you are working chest or biceps, for example, you're doing isolated movements before you do compound movements, meaning multi-joint. So if you're doing a cable crossover or a pec deck, you are actually doing a single joint movement to a little bit, I would say a 2 or 3 pronged approach. You're actually warming up the joint a little bit more. You're paying a little bit more attention to form, and you're focusing on the actual movement of that muscle in an isolated sense. Now, what I mean by isolated is that you're only using muscles that are crossing one joint, not multiple joints. So if you're doing a chest press, you're doing shoulder joint, you're doing your elbow joint. If you're doing a barbell bicep curl, you are doing a single joint, but you're using a more of a mass or an external force exercise that can be a little bit heavier, a little bit more restrictive. Another good example of a compound exercise would be a barbell row where you're using shoulder and your elbows as well, a squat, hip, knee, and ankle. So if you are working a larger muscle group, let's just keep it large. Forget the biceps specifically. Let's talk about chest and let's talk about back. So if you're working chest and back, a good isolation exercise for both chest and back, for back would be a dumbbell pullover or a cable lat pull down with your arms straight. A compound exercise would be a barbell row or a dumbbell row because you're using multiple joints for those back exercises. For chest, it would be a cable fly. It would be you could use it, consider it a dumbbell fly, even though you have some isometrics going on around the elbow. So a dumbbell fly or a cable fly would technically be more isolated single joint movements before you did something like a bench press, whether it's machine or a barbell or a dumbbell. So if you're doing more isolated movements first, you're warming up the joint. You are also, I look at the actor from Captain America. Maybe you mean Aquaman, because I don't look like the guy from Captain America at all. Chris Evans, not even close. If you're doing a chest fly or a cable fly or a pec deck for chest, you are potentially digging deeper into the stabilizers, so more type 1 fiber activation. You can focus more on the chest muscle. You're not using multiple joints, so you can isolate the chest and focus more on literally the pectoralis major and minor. Then, once those muscles are warmed up, you have more blood flow, you have more focused, I would say, focused stabilizer activation, more blood flow locally to the area. You can go more towards multi-joint movements, such as a bench press, and it would actually be safer because on Periscope and Facebook Live, if you're warming up the joints, if you have more localized blood flow, you have higher temperatures locally in the muscle, more sympathetic activation, so more blood is saturating the muscle tissue, more fluids are going through the synovial joints, which are protecting the joints. And there's more focus. That's why they call, for example, the concentration curl for the bicep a concentration curl. When you focus more on the actual neural connection with the muscle tissue, you're going to get a better meshing. You're going to get a better connection with the actual contraction. So your body will get a more full-blown contraction, more of a successful contraction, so to speak, if you are paying attention and you're isolating and you're doing single joint movements. More importantly, and the reason why the title of this is called pre-fatigue for more gains or for more muscle is because if you're not getting hurt and you decrease your risk for injury, you're less likely to stop. One of the biggest things that holds people back from seeing progress is injury. Once you get tendonitis, once you have things like shoulder pain or elbow pain that gets in the way of your training, that sets you back, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to work out. And if you don't fucking work out, you're not going to get results. If you're on the sidelines, if you're out for 2 weeks because of tendonitis, if you tear your ACL, if you hurt your back, if you throw your back out, you're not exercising. You're not in the gym. So you're mentally feeling like shit. Not only that, you're physically feeling like shit. Your body's going to build up scar tissue, compensations. You're going to have imbalances. And it's just going to lead towards a cyclical pattern of repetitious injury. So usually when you get one injury, you have another injury. And you're going to have another injury after that. Or you're going to have stiffness and tightness. You're going to walk differently. You're going to hold your body differently. You're going to hold your shoulder differently. You're going to twist your body differently when you sit down in the car, when you sit down at a table, when you stand in line at the supermarket, at the bank. All of these things, these injuries that you might have had 10, 15 years ago, are the reasons why you have back pain today, or could be contributing. The reasons why you have shoulder and chronic neck pain. If you have chronic neck pain, if you have a shoulder injury that doesn't go away, if you have hamstring pulls that keep on coming back and coming back, chances are it's because you either have a repetitious movement pattern that leads to these imbalances, or you hurt yourself 5, 10, 15 years ago, sprained your ankle, walked differently for the last 10, 15 years, and now you have muscle imbalances that are causing you chronic pain. So one of the biggest setbacks, one of the biggest problems for people that get hurt in a gym or that do things improperly is that they get hurt and they're kicked out of the gym, like they have to stay out. They're limited with their mobility. They're limited with their movements. They're limited with their capacity is. And then long term, they get less results. If you're not working out, if you're not recovering properly, if you're not eating properly, if you're out of the gym, period, guess what? Doesn't take a genius to realize that you're not getting results. So pre-fatigue will get a little bit more into the stabilizers. It'll help you focus a little bit more on the actual muscle that you're trying to work. And then neurally, once you go to those compound larger movements, like a bench press with a bar, like a bench press with dumbbells. Hold on, let me block someone on Periscope. If you do the isolated movement first, chest fly, cable fly, pec deck, you're getting more blood flow, more joint mobility, increased temperature. You're getting more fluid through there. You're focusing more on the chest muscles. Now you have a connection with the brain to the pectoralis major. Those chest muscles and those neurons are firing. Then, as a result, guess what's going to happen? When you go to those compound movements, when you go to your bench press after, when you go to your barbell bench, when you go to your dumbbell bench, now that pathway of the brain firing those pectoralis fibers is already warmed up and already stimulated. So when you go to your compound movement, your multi-joint movement, it's actually hitting your chest more. You might not be able to lift as much. You might have to drop the weight a little bit, but you're getting more activity in that compound movement on the muscles that are your primary movers. That's your main goal. So your chest will get more activity. Your biceps will get more activity. Muscles in your back will get more activity if you isolate first. I'll stay for a few minutes after on Periscope and Facebook Live. Thank you for joining me for episode 184 of The Daily Mother Swole. And if you're just joining me now live, remember, you can catch every single episode on SoundCloud and iTunes as a podcast, and also at Swolenormous on YouTube. So if you're on Periscope, check my profile. You can click the link. Just type in Swolenormous on YouTube and subscribe, like the video. Make sure you watch The Daily Swole on YouTube after, even if you caught it live, because there is going to be other footage spliced into the video that could or may not accompany what I'm talking about, but it's going to be exercise footage. It's going to be other footage as well that's going to be entertaining, so you can listen to it, recap a little bit, and get some more visual stimulation as well. And remember to catch my newest newest. Right now, when I sign off, I'm posting my latest Facebook video, my latest spotlight video on my Facebook page. So if you're not following me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Swolenormous. You could also catch me on Instagram and Snapchat. But make sure that you check out, like, share. I'm going to be blasting it everywhere. The Facebook video, spotlight video, and that's going to be an amazing video. It's about not quitting and not giving up. So make sure you look for that a few minutes after this broadcast. I'll stay for a few minutes, answer a couple questions if you have any live. Thank you for joining me for episode 184. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.